Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Within the past few days, the betting odds on whether President Donald Trump will disclose the truth about UFOs and aliens has skyrocketed. Just a few days ago, it was at 6% betting odds on Polymarket, but those odds have since increased today up to 98%. A 98% chance, Polymarket, according to Polymarket, it's an online betting platform. 98% chance that Trump is going to disclose the truth about UFOs and aliens before the end of this year. As of the filming right now, there's only 21 days left in this year. And that's what Polymarket is predicting, that there's a 98% chance based on the bets. There's a lot of bets that have been going in on this in the last few days for some reason, that Trump is going to disclose the truth about UFOs and aliens before the end of this year. Before the end of 2025. And here is there's a bunch of stories online about it today over the last couple of days. And here's one of the more recent ones. This is from dailymail.com, where it talks about how it has shot up to 98%. And the headline here reads, Trump UFO disclosure predicted to come in just days after mysterious insider tip. And it says here, the odds of President Donald Trump revealing what he knows about alien life have suddenly skyrocketed, leading experts to believe full public disclosure is days away. A wagering pool on Polymarket called Trump Declassifies UFO Files in 2025 has mysteriously exploded with activity, rising to over $7 million in bets, shifting the odds from 6% yes on December 6th to a staggering 98% on Tuesday morning. Polymarket is a popular online prediction platform where people bet on the outcomes of real-world events, such as elections, sports, or even UFO sightings, using cryptocurrency, turning speculation into a crowd-sourced probability meter. In this UFO market, the odds flipped dramatically because of a sudden surge in betting volume, likely fueled by rumors, insider tips, and viral buzz, causing the share prices to rocket as more people piled in on the yes side. In fact, UFO researcher and filmmaker Mark Christopher Lee told the Daily Mail he is convinced the recent trading in favor of Trump releasing UFO files has been sparked by someone with access to the White House. I think someone on the inside close to Trump knows this and has been buying, hence the rise, Lee explained. To this point, previous White Houses, the United States military, and even NASA have all denied that humans have ever encountered UFOs, recovered crashed spaceships, or made contact with alien life. While Trump has remained skeptical about the existence of UFOs as well, he has repeatedly promised to release whatever his administration discovered to the public, telling the Lex Friedman podcast in 2024, "I'd love to do that. I have to do that." So Trump has talked about this kind of stuff in the past, but, to this point, nothing has ever happened. But all of a sudden, Polymarket bettors are putting a lot of money, over $7 million over the last few days on, they believe they're betting in favor of Trump releasing those files. They're betting on that probability of that happening before the end of this year. Now, that's what this article is saying here, basically, is that somebody from the White House might have been the person, somebody with insider knowledge of what's going on in the mind of the administration, started placing these bets because maybe this person in the White House knows that Trump is going to disclose the truth about UFOs before the end of this year. And that's why the bets start going up. That's the hypothesis here. Nobody really could say for sure. There's no proof of this one way or the other. But I find it interesting. I mean, this is... if this happened, I mean, that would be it, right? It'd be a nice little Christmas present for people who have been clamoring for disclosure for decades. But here's the thing. Is it really going to happen? Or, I mean, how did this happen? If it was a White House insider that has some inside information about what's going on, what the mindset is with regard to this issue, maybe that person knows more and knows that this is coming, and that's why they're placing the bet. It's like insider trading, basically the same thing. A lot of politicians find out about certain deals going on behind the scenes, and they don't know, the public doesn't know about them yet, and then they do insider trading in the stock market, and they make themselves millions of dollars, and they just keep getting away with this, so the public just sits back like a bunch of idiots. And this is the same kind of situation, really, if in fact that's what's happening here. It could be other reasons why this is going on. Maybe there's some millionaires out there with some money to burn who decided, hey, you know what, I'm gonna turn this bet. I'm going to turn the odds on this bet around by throwing a lot of money on it, money that I don't care if I lose or not, and we'll just see what happens. Maybe this will prompt President Trump to finally make that decision when he sees that a whole bunch of people are betting on him releasing the full information about UFOs and aliens before the end of the year. Maybe that's what it is. Who really knows? Who can say? Or it could be an insider within the White House that knows about this and started placing bets along with his or her friends, and that's why the odds have increased for this. Who could say at this point? But if it happens, what will happen? Right? Say it does happen. What's he gonna say? Are we gonna finally learn the truth about UFO crashes, or are they going to release the files on the Roswell crash, on the Aztec crash, if there was one in Aztec, New Mexico, on the Kingman, Arizona incident? Are we going to find out about all these crashes that have been getting covered up for decades? Are they going to release pictures, film, video, or what are we going to get? Are they going to show us the bodies? They're going to show us the actual bodies they have on ice, if this is true, if this is where we're heading, if these odds turn out to be correct, that there's a great chance that we're going to get disclosure before the end of the year. Why would Trump do this at this point? Well, if you look at the odds right now, or excuse me, the polls right now, he's not doing that well in the polls. And I've stated this before. If he were to tell the truth about UFOs and aliens, provide disclosure to the American public, maybe that will change the discussion, and maybe some people will look at him with a more favorable eye. Will change the conversation, because all of a sudden the whole world will know that we're not alone, and that there's alien presence here among us, and that we have in fact recovered alien craft and bodies, and here they are for the public to see. I mean, if he was to do something like that, I mean, that would change the conversation. And it would, he would go down in history. That would be what he would be most remembered for if he did do this. So you would have to think that this is something that he would be thinking about. But I also have to wonder, though, too, how much power do presidents have when it comes to this issue? I mean, does a president have the ability to walk up to a podium and just tell the truth about this? Or is that decision made by some other people? Is the secret control group in charge of making that decision or not? Is the secret control group deciding, hey, it's time to tell the truth, and okay, hey, everybody bet on go to Polymarket and bet on this, because you're going to make a ton of money on it? Is that what's going on? I mean, maybe is the smart move right now to go on Polymarket and place some bets on this issue here, and because it's going to happen? Or was it a rumor that started this, and somebody got excited thinking that disclosure is going to happen? We really can't say. You'd be taking a chance. I wouldn't put any money on anything like this. I mean, for this to happen, I have to see it to believe it. I mean, I would have to, until it happens, that's how it's always going to be for me when it comes to the government finally telling the truth about aliens and UFOs and the cover-up that's been going on for at least since 1947, right? Almost 80 years now, and maybe longer. We really can't say. Anyway, let's get back to this article and read a little bit more. It says here, Polymarket has declared that for the yes bets to be correct, the Trump administration must officially declassify any previously classified files about extraterrestrial life and or unexplained aerial phenomena by the end of 2025. So that's an interesting little sentence there. And or unexplained aerial phenomena. He must release any previously classified files. What if he just releases some classified files related to some unexplained aerial phenomena that we don't have an answer for, and doesn't provide anything about extraterrestrials that were discovered along with the recovered craft? What if there's only a partial that we get? How does that work? It says here, on Sunday, a string of aggressive purchases by a small group of traders triggered a surge of confidence that an announcement on UFOs was coming. Some Polymarket users betting on Trump's promise to disclose the information have bought over $20,000 worth of yes shares in a single trade this week. So somebody made some users, they bet $20,000 in one single trade. The mysterious event that sent the Polymarket pool soaring after December 6th has yet to be identified. Since Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, more than $5 million has been poured into the UFO wagering pool, sending the total wagered to over $7.3 million. And I'm sure by this point now, because this article is several hours old, and I'm sure that that number is probably higher. I wouldn't be surprised if it's $8 million or $9 million or even $10 million at this point as I'm speaking. The speculation has come as the Trump administration faces pressure to fulfill its broader promises to declassify and release government records across a range of sensitive areas, including the Epstein files. A new federal law means the Department of Justice must publish all unclassified Epstein-related materials by December 19th. December 19th, by the way, I just want to point out that's when Three Eye Alice is going to be closest to the Earth. I don't know if there's any correlation there or not with that or not. Which one Polymarket wagering poll says only has a 62% chance of happening. So right now, according to Polymarket, there's more of a chance that Trump is going to reveal the truth about UFOs and aliens than the Epstein files getting released, even though the Department of Justice has been ordered. The federal law is requires that it's released by December 19th, but they're only given a 62% chance of that happening on Polymarket, compared to right now a 98% chance of the truth about extraterrestrials and UFOs being revealed and disclosed to the public by the Trump administration, by Donald Trump himself. I'm assuming he would be the one making this announcement if it were to happen. If it's a big if. Seeing is believing. I have to see it to believe this one. I personally don't think it's going to happen, but hey, you never know. Something sent a group of people to Polymarket to start betting on this for some reason over the last few days. Do they know something that the rest of us don't? Could be. I don't know. I'm not placing any bets. I hope I don't. I might live to regret that. Who knows? We'll see. Continuing here, it says, as for UFO disclosure, prominent podcast host Joe Rogan recently said that whistleblowers who speak out about extraterrestrials must receive amnesty and protection from the federal government. Throughout 2025, the odds had been heavily stacked against Trump disclosing any UFO files, even after the November release of a bombshell new documentary called The Age of Disclosure. Yeah, actually, you know what? After that movie came out, the odds actually dipped. They went down for some reason, but now they're going back up again. Who knows what's going on here? It's possible. It is possible that there was some insider that knows something that we don't, and that's why this all started. But then again, it just could be. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I guess we'll find out by December 31st, right? We'll know by then, or if this bet's gonna work out for the people who are putting all these wagers on it. We'll see. We'll find out. But yeah, I don't know what would happen. I would think if it did happen, I would like to see first, I hope they present the Roswell files. I would love to see the Roswell files. I would like to see pictures, film, anything they got that they could provide. I want to see what the bodies look like. How many bodies were there? Was there one alive like some reports indicate? There's so many questions I have with regard to the Roswell incident. I am sure there's going to be a great demand for people who have researched this subject, particularly the UFO crashes, particularly like Roswell, I would say. Like there'll be people like Kevin Randall, Donald Schmidt, Thomas Carey, among others, Ryan Woods. There's just a lot of people out there who research crashes, UFO crashes. Richard Dolan, I'm sure, would be a guest on some shows. There'll be a big demand all of a sudden for people who have been researching this stuff for decades, to show up on network TV, to talk, network news channels, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, or whatever it is now, to talk about these crashes and compare their notes, their research to the information that the government provides, if this really were to happen. And then the other question is how will the public react? How will there be panic like everyone says? I don't think so. I think most people just don't care. They're too busy with their everyday lives, that if they were told that we're not alone, that there's something here with us, that is an extraterrestrial presence, I think some people there'll be a handful out there. I mean, a handful meaning, maybe a millions of people that will be upset by this. There will be some people who will still refuse to believe it. I am certain of that. But at the same time, it would be a giant step. It would be huge for the scientific community, because then that would erase the stigma. There would be no issues for any scientist to finally sit down and seriously study, alien abduction phenomena, cattle mutilations, all of this stuff. That would finally eliminate that concern for those kind of, there's a stigma that just hovers over this whole phenomenon. right? It just does. It seems it's just not going to go away until some officials finally come out and tell the truth. I think it doesn't matter how much proof comes out of the public, right? I mean, we've been talking about all these different cases for a long time now. For the life of me, I can't understand how uh, the Ariel school incident from 1994 still isn't being talked about every day. I mean, as far as anyone should be concerned, that proved right there. I mean, even though we don't have the physical evidence, you had all these little kid witnesses in an elementary school in Zimbabwe back in September 1994 telling us that an alien craft landed and there were aliens that exited the craft, and one of these aliens was communicating telepathically with these kids. And there was just a small little group of researchers like John Mack, Cynthia Hines, among a couple others that investigated that case. And that should have been one of the biggest stories of all time. But and then just the recent years, we had Randall Nickerson release that film, Aerial Phenomenon. That was, to me, that served as evidence. That serves as proof that we're not alone. But see, it doesn't seem like the public, the mainstream news, they just don't take this that seriously. And of course, I've talked about the Vegas alien incident all the time, and that case there showed that there's no question about it. There's something here with us aliens we see in that video, just as people have described them over the decades. We have a lot of evidence within the public domain. You think the scientific community would finally say, hey, you know what, there is something to this. We need to start taking this seriously. But really, for the most part, outside of a handful of scientists, I would say more than 90% of the scientific community stays away from this. However, disclosure coming from the government, that would change all of that, I would think. So I think the people who would finally be on board with this, finally be on board of studying this. And there are going to be a lot of upset people too. Let me just say that. But finally, the scientific community wouldn't have to be concerned about being ridiculed anymore. That would be the biggest thing to come out of this. It's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. Now, again, I don't know why would Trump want to do this. I mean, again, like I said, his poll numbers are bad right now. This might be something to get people to forget about the economy and everything else, maybe. But would it last? I don't know. Like I said, I think a lot of people are just going to be, yeah. Well, so what? That's how I think a lot of people who don't even care about this subject, that's how they'll act. There'll be some people who will be concerned. There will be some people, highly religious people, who will hate this, and they'll say it has to be phony and demonic and things like that. You're going to hear all kinds of stuff. But here's the bottom line. I don't think it's going to happen. I doubt it. But hey, I would love to be proven wrong. I hope I'm proven. I hope I am wrong about that. But I doubt it. That's just my opinion. I don't think that. I don't know what's going on with this betting right now. But I still don't, till I see it, right? I just can't, I won't believe it's going to happen until it really does happen. Here's the thing. We already know, and a lot of us know, right? It's a real phenomenon. We know that the government's covering up. It's time that they come clean on it, but it feels like it's never going to happen. I know that Richard Dolan has said in the past that he doesn't see it coming. He doesn't see disclosure happening, like not easily, right? But who knows what's going on behind the scenes right now? Maybe they're just going to do this anyway. I don't know. We'll find out soon. But I did ask ChatGPT if this would be a boon. Would this help boost anyone's poll numbers? And it provided me. This was the overview. It gave me reasons why it would, and reasons why it wouldn't, and then it gave me in conclusion here. It says it would give it a boost, but probably a modest and short-term boost. It would give to Trump's poll numbers. Says here, if a president truly revealed strong, credible evidence about aliens or UAP and did so transparently with seriousness, I believe they could see a modest boost in polling or public trust, at least temporarily. It would likely appeal most to people already skeptical of government secrecy, those open-minded about extraterrestrial life, and voters disillusioned with typical political secrecy and broken promises. But I'm skeptical it would create a large or enduring shift in approval ratings. For many voters, UFOs might simply remain a curiosity, interesting, but not a top-tier political issue. So that's what AI is saying about it. If might give them a temporary boost, but it won't last probably. But who knows? Who really could say what would happen? We really can't say what disclosure will bring. And there's always that other concern that people talk about, like how will the phenomenon react? I've heard Lou Elizondo say that before. like I've said, I don't think the phenomenon. I don't think there's going to be a reaction from the phenomenon. That's just my opinion. It doesn't make me right. It's just that there are a lot of us here that know that there's something here with us, despite the fact that more than a greater number of people still have not accepted this. They don't know, right? They just don't know. I will say this too. Just recently, David Grush, the whistleblower, the former Air Force official, he was on an interview on Fox News recently, and he stated that Trump has been completely briefed. He's been totally briefed on this. I would have to imagine that all presidents have to be briefed on this, right? I mean, if you're the president of the United States, then you're going to be briefed on the UFO topic. I don't know how much if they're given all the information or not, but according to Grush, Trump has been given all the information. That's what it sounded like when he was interviewed recently. Did he not get all the information the first time he was president, and he got it all this time? I don't know. Who knows? I mean, who knows how they work in this behind the scenes? I just don't know. How much information presidents are given on this topic, but disclosure will be. It would be a big deal if it were to happen. I think so. I think it would. For a little while anyway, it's going to trump all the other news, I would have to imagine. All other news is going to go take a back seat to this because there's going to be a lot of people wanting to know more. I would think there's going to be, at the same time, it would die down after a couple of weeks. I would think people will, they'll just get back to the way they were. Most people will just be worried about everyday life and how they're going to pay their bills, and that's how it will go. But yeah, there will be some people who, I'm sure a small percentage will be freaked out. But I think the majority of people will be okay with it. And hopefully it does happen. We'll see. But my opinion is I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know what's causing this Polymarket betting to go up like this. But at the same time, I don't think it matters. I don't think we're going to see disclosure. And I'm still not sold on presidents having the ability to make that decision. I think that decision seems to be in the hands of someone else, and something was established in the long past, probably under Truman and Eisenhower, and then Eisenhower, that, hey, this has to be kept a secret, and this group here, this control group, they're the ones in charge of this, and nobody else, not even the president, gets to know everything. I think that's probably what was established back in the 40s and 50s, and I think we're still operating under those protocols. That's what I think. And I don't think the president does have the authority on his own to make that announcement, because there's a lot of implications by making an announcement like that. A lot of different things need to be taken into consideration. And I'm not sure that president has the power. We don't know what has been decided secretly a long time ago, and what how those protocols work, or what the rules are. But that's my feeling on it. But we'll see. We shall see. Anyway, moving on, I want to get caught up on the recent Spotify polls. And we're going to start with one that I did talk about the last time I was talking about it, but we'll do this one first. For the episode Intimate Relations, Accounts of Men Forced to Procreate with Non-Human Intelligent Beings, I asked this question: do you believe aliens may have produced offspring using your reproductive cells? Well, there's 35 votes so far with 14 days left. 15 people, or 42.9%, say yes, while 20 people, or 57.1%, say no. That's a pretty high percentage that believe that the aliens have been using their reproductive cells to create hybrid offspring. Like I said the last time when I mentioned this poll, I hope that's not the case with me. I don't think so. No is the answer for me, but hey, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, maybe they have, and I just have no conscious memory of it. I don't know. I hope not. Anyway, for the episode Dan Aykroyd discusses the 2023 Las Vegas alien incident, I asked this question: is the secret control group pressuring mainstream outlets into presenting watered-down versions of the Las Vegas incident? 38 votes so far with 16 days left. 6 people, or 15.8%, say no, while the majority, 32 or 84.2%, say yes. Yes, I do think that the secret control group is pressuring mainstream outlets into presenting watered-down versions of the Vegas incident, because the History Channel aired 3 different programs this year, 3 different shows, 3 different series. The first one was The Proof is Out There. The second one was Ancient Aliens. And now the third one, The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd. And each instance, there was a small mention of the Las Vegas case in each of those shows, and they pretty much gave watered down versions of the story. In fact, the proof is out there, made it sound like there was absolutely nothing to the case when, as everyone knows who's been following my channel knows, there's a lot to this case. And see, it's stuff like this, right? It's stuff like that, right? It seems to me, that's why I just can't imagine the president making this announcement before the end of the year. I mean, you still have this cover up. It's plain as day going on. Obviously, something's going on here. And I know, like I talked about before, the History Channel knows about this case. They know all the details about this case. The people who create Ancient Aliens know everything about this case, and they left a lot of that out of that when they did their little 2 minutes on it, right? And they had interviewed Scott Roeder for almost 3 hours, the crime scene reconstruction expert who confirmed that the video was authentic and that there were NHI beings in the video, right? They interviewed him for almost 3 hours. He provided them images, still images, video segments, all kinds of stuff. In fact, I helped him put a package together before he went out there, and they he talked to he was interviewed about all these things, and that stuff was kept out of the episode. There's most certainly a cover up here, folks. I mean, they're not even trying to debunk the stuff we're saying. They won't even bring it up because they know what it means. It's being covered up. Maybe they're waiting for disclosure that's going to happen now. Maybe that's what it was. They didn't want the people to know this way. They want the president to tell them. Maybe that's what it's all about. I guess we'll find out pretty soon. All right, for the episode, Critical Thinking Skills Deficit Prevents Some People from Accepting the Extraterrestrial Non-Human Intelligence Reality. I asked this question: is there any hope for people without critical thinking skills to ever develop such skills? 26 votes so far with 17 days left. Okay, 12 people or 46.2% say no, they're dumb forever, while the majority, 14 people or 53.8% say yes, but it requires an attitude change. Yeah, required. I think everybody could change. I think it's up to the individual. I mean, you present facts to them, and if sometimes they don't accept those facts. I see it a lot on my channel, right? In some of the comments, most of the comments are very enthusiastic, and I appreciate those comments. But every now and then, I get these comments from people who just hate what I'm saying. And but doesn't mean they can't be changed. I mean, maybe at some point their thinking skills could be adjusted. I mean, they just need to have a change in their way they see the world. I mean, the way they need to figure out how to think critically. That's the whole issue, right? So yeah, I agree with majority. Yes, it requires an attitude change. I think there's hope for everyone. That's where I'm at. I don't think they're going to be dumb forever. No, some of them will be, obviously, right? But if they try, there is a way out. There is a way. You could become a smart person in this world. Who's able to employ critical thinking skills in everything you do in life. So there is. You just got to change your attitude and stop, being stupid. That just boils down. Yeah, if you want to stop being stupid and want to develop critical thinking skills, you got to, convince yourself, right? You got to, look in the mirror and admit to yourself that, yeah, you know what, I am stupid and I need to change myself. Then hey, who knows? You might reach that point. You just might. All right, for the episode, Roof Workers Threatened by 2 Floating 8-Foot Tall Aliens in 1972 Mexico, I asked this question: what are aliens using that enables them to float? Okay, 28 votes so far with 19 days left. Let's see what the results are so far. All right, this was multiple choice. 1 person or 3.6% says biological abilities. 2 people or 7.1% say other. 7 people or 25% say telekinetic powers. And the majority, 18 people or 64.3% say advanced technology. Yeah, I'm going to agree with the majority here. I think it's some form of advanced technology that they're utilizing that allows them to float around as well as somehow move through walls. So yeah, I agree with the majority on that one. All right, and for the most recent episode, opinion: the UFO that crashed in Kecksburg Opinion: the UFO that crashed in Kecksburg 60 years ago involved extraterrestrials slash NHI. I asked this question. Now, this is just from yesterday, so there's only 16 votes so far with 23 days left. And the question is, what crash landed in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania on December 9th, 1965, which is today, by the way? Okay, let's see. 0 people voted for Soviet spacecraft. 1 person, or 6.3%, says U.S. spy satellite. Another 1 person, or 6.3%, says meteor. While the majority, 14 people, or 87.5%, say ET/NHI craft. And of course, that's my opinion, and I agree with the majority. That's what I think it was. 60 years has gone by now, and I think we could all safely conclude that this involved extraterrestrials or non-human intelligence, because otherwise they would have provided us the answer to this already. I mean, people saw the object. People saw this acorn-shaped object in the woods, just next to Kecksburg, there near Kecksburg. There was a military presence there. There were people that saw this object that was placed onto a flatbed and then covered up with a tarp, and they saw it being driven out of there. And then they said that they found nothing. The authorities tell us they found nothing there. They were lying. And why would they lie? Because it had involved extraterrestrials. If it was some sort of a human device, a human-made contraption, right, they would have told us already. 60 years has gone by. There's no other reason to keep this a secret unless it has something to do with extraterrestrials/NHI. And that's where I stand at this point. That's what it had to be. Stan Gordon, he's the one who was investigated this case. And, there's nothing wrong with his opinion. His opinion is he doesn't know, right? And we really, that's right. We don't know, right? But, I think at this point in time, it's like, there's no reason to keep this covered up for as long as they have, unless it had to deal with that. There's no other reason. Absolutely none. 60 years. Think about it. If it was some sort of, the testing of some sort of advanced craft that they made at that time, why can't we know about it now? Because whatever it was, it's outdated. It doesn't, that shouldn't be a secret anymore. Something that's 60 years old. Come on, it's time to know what it is. I mean, if it was something that was made by the United States and it crashed, some sort of an experimental satellite or a spy satellite or whatever, they could have told us about it already. But they never did tell us about it, and that, to me, tells me it must have been an extraterrestrial. Must have been. I can't see any other explanation for it at this point. And besides that, I mean, there was witnesses that said they saw hieroglyphic writing on the edges of this thing. That's what it looked like Egyptian hieroglyphics. There were witnesses to this, stating this. Why would they tell us that? And that doesn't sound like something from another country. Hieroglyphics from Egypt? I don't think Egypt was sending up any kind of objects like that back in 65. And if they did, why would they keep that information from us? It just doesn't make any sense. When you really think about it, it doesn't make any sense why this has been covered up for 60 years, other than it involved aliens. That's the only reason. All right. Well, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.